Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. I like to think that every single one of the over 200 friendos watching this live on the Twitch right now would never, ever jump a barricade and prove positive that they are, in fact, a big dummy like that fan that attacked Seth Rollins last night on Raw. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but first, a couple programming notes because it is, of course, Turkey Week. Larson, what's going on Thursday instead of us being here live?
We got a Going In Raw view. That's when we review old pay-per-views. This time we're doing WCW Bash at the Beach 1996. In case you have forgotten or didn't know, that is the day that marks the birth of the New World Organization of Professional Wrestling.
That's right. Yeah. Exciting stuff. So that's going down on Thursday, and then Friday we're taking the day off. I'll probably be here, so I'll probably dick around either on my Twitch channel or at our Twitch channel. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's sort of whatever I want to do. But yeah, we're taking a couple of days off in general because it is Turkey Week, and then of course we're going to be in the holidays. Didn't stop me from putting up the lights, though, man. Look at this amazing. Look at this. It's so festive. I'm in the mood for festivities, but I'm also just a tad bit loopy because I went and got my booster yesterday.
Good for
Larson.
You. Awesome.
I got boosted, so I'm ready to go. All those indie shows in the year 2022 and just start coughing on everybody and soaking in their
I don't think you have to go to that
droplets.
Extent. I mean, I too am about a week or so into being boosted, and even then, I mean, I just went to Disneyland though. I guess everything turned out all right. So
yeah, exactly. It's over. It's done.
You know
it's over. It's over. That particular fan who attacked Seth Rollins, his time in WWE arenas, that's for sure. So we caught a bit of it during the broadcast. But if you're on Twitter, odds are you've seen, or over at youtube.com/WrestleJuice, because I watch it there too.
Oh, wow.
Odds are you've seen fan cam footage, multiple angles at this point, of a fan on stage, I guess left, because I think if you're on the stage, it's stage left if you're looking from
Facing
the stage.
Audience. Yes.
Right. Running to the ramp to tackle Seth Rollins last night on Raw after he laid out Finn Balor. Thankfully, Seth wasn't hurt. He was able to immediately get him in a chokehold as security came down. He did a little bit of yelling at the guy, but I'm sure that the adrenaline was pumping, but he did what he could. The fan was escorted out of the arena, and according to ESPN's Mark Raimondi, the fan was taken into custody by the New York PD and charged with attempted assault and attempted violation of arts and cultural affairs. There's a joke somewhere about WWE being an art or a cultural affair, but whatever. WWE issued a statement on the attack stating WWE takes the safety of its performers very seriously. The individual who attacked Seth Rollins has been turned over to the NYPD and will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. If you've been diving a little bit deeper, we didn't mention the dude's name because I don't want to give us any attention, but there does number one, it's clearly there is something wrong with this individual. This, to me, it seems like there's you got to be wired a little bit differently to do this sober. You know, it's one thing if you're a drunken fan who stumbles over a barricade. This guy came at Seth with precision, and there is some proof out there on social media that this guy was seemingly, I guess, duped in a way from a fake Seth Rollins account.
Catfished, I believe is the term.
Catfished. Believed he was talking to Seth Rollins, and this was authorized by Seth Rollins, like in his mind.
Yeah. I mean, that seems, there's been some reports about that. Remains to be seen. About the accuracy of those reports, but we'll see. It's a scary situation. You don't like to see this happen. And thankfully, Seth did a good job reversing the fan spear into a chokehold. The refs were on it immediately. Security comes down. They're on it pretty much immediately. And thankfully, Seth didn't get hurt. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, dude, this guy might have a knife or a gun or something like that. You never know what the situation is. So to be a performer, and this is, by the way, not the first time this happened to Seth. It's not the second time it's happened to Seth. This has been multiple times that this has happened to Seth. There was one guy who got in there while he was delivering a promo a couple of years ago. I think it was during his face run. There was another guy who ran next to him on the ramp when he was double champion, and the fan just stood there. But again, freaky stuff. Seth seems to be, for whatever reason, a particular object of,
a target
target for a lot of these weirdo fans.
I mean, I would imagine the only thing I think of is by and large, the vast majority of his career, he's been a heel and is in a lot of ways an effective heel.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, people feel the need to cross that barricade that you're not supposed to cross and get involved in the show. And it's scary. It's downright scary. And did you see after the show? Yeah. Did you see after the show there was another fan that was, I think, giving Montez
see that
some crap, and then looked like he was either escorted out or left. I don't know.
That just seemed like a braggadocious fan. He seemed like a big dummy. I hate to call somebody a big dummy if they've got actual mental health issues, which I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like, just from what I've seen, there's some purported screenshots from his Instagram, and I got no reason to believe that they're not real. He seems like he's a messed up dude, and so I'm a little hesitant to crack jokes. If some idiot's at ringside just talking a lot of shit, they're a big dummy. Because, dude, I've been to so many shows. I remember the awesome front row house show seats that Hilton hooked me up with. Right? It was great. It was so much fun. House shows are so much fun. I just went by myself because he had one ticket. And there was this asshole two seats down from me who was loudly heckling Emma, Tennille Dashwood, because it was right on the heels of the shoplifting thing. And it's what is your goal here? What are you looking to accomplish? You're just being an asshole at this point. So I don't know. Look, if this guy that attacked Seth was just a big dummy, then so be it. But it does seem like there's something a little messed up going on in his head, and hopefully the kid gets help. Yes. If that's what's needed here. And I mean, if he is a guy that needs some mental help, thank God he didn't do this back in 1998 and did it to Triple H, because, oh my God, I was watching some of those videos today. Triple H walloped.
Yeah.
Walloped.
Is that the one where he and Kyoto were beating the heck out of the guy?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Kyoto. Yeah. He goes to attack Stone Cold, and Triple H just gives him the gnarliest suplex.
Yeah.
And he flings him over. It's like a tackle. And then they just start wailing. Kyoto starts wailing on him too.
Yeah. He was punching and kicking him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they do. Wrestlers, I think, are just trained a lot. I think they just understand that the legal nature these days is a little bit different than it was 30 years ago, where it's a lot legally safer. Hey, subdue the guy, get him out of there. Yep. Have security take care of the rest, so that they can't countersue for whatever they do.
I think also too, is Seth did what he could to subdue the guy. Security comes there, you get yourself out of there, because then you're protecting yourself too. If you try to prolong the fight, there's a chance that accidentally you could get hurt.
Yeah.
And that's bad for in this case Seth personally, and bad for business. So you get yourself out of the situation and let security deal with it. That's what they're there for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Who is Fear and Loathing here says Montez was getting heckled the whole time and told the guy to say it to his face, and then he went soft. He just walked away. Dude, even the show, the Christmas New Year taping that we went to 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There was that guy, and he was an entire section away. And the entire time he was shouting. We were in the
lower bowl, but we're I don't know, more than halfway up. So we're a long ways from the ring.
We were pretty far away from the ring.
Yeah, this dude is a section and a half away from us. Yeah.
Kept on heckling JoJo, the ring announcer. And he was so far away, and it was just ruining everything. It's dude, we're already here for 2 Raws. This is already a long show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Some people, I don't know what I mean. I know wrestling fans are a little different, but man, stop being big dummies, man. Just go enjoy the damn show. Stop trying to make it about yourself.
Yes.
And chances are, if you're talking actively with Seth Rollins on social media, it ain't actually him.
Yeah, that's
probably not actually him.
Probably the case. Yes.
So use your brain, okay? Anyways, so you were not a fan of Raw last night, if the pre-show was any indication.
Not my favorite episode, no.
What is your favorite episode of Raw ever?
It wasn't this one. I can tell you that much.
Not the egg one.
You know, it's. I shouldn't be surprised. Look, you know, for a number of years, almost as long as we've been doing this, we try to be positive about what we see. You know, we try our best to be positive. And that continues to this day, I feel like. And I don't enjoy not liking the programming I watch. I wish it were the case. But at the same time, I'm not going to BS myself or our audience, you know, hyping up a show that I actually thought was not very good. You know, I'm trying to be honest, you know?
Do people think that that WWE creative hasn't changed in the past 6 years? It has. By the way,
it has changed a lot just in the last 2 years.
It's changed dramatically. And we can't sit here and look at a pile of shit and try to find any semblance of a diamond in there, you know, because I'll be honest with you. I kind of enjoyed Raw last night. I was relatively entertained. Granted, I might have been in the throes of post booster head game. I don't know, or headspace. I don't know why we would diverge on this so much. Some weeks we just do that.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Raw, but the idea, but I've seen exactly what you're talking about. You know, it's like, yes, we have attempted to be positive, or we have made an effort to be positive as much as we can.
I think if we could be positive all the time, we would.
I'm not trying to lie to anybody. If I'm presented with something that's underwhelming, I'm going to call it underwhelming.
Exactly.
That being said, I don't know. Maybe I was just in a different headspace. I didn't mind Raw so much last night.
I mean, it's a bummer that Survivor Series is historically one of the major 4 pay-per-views of WWE. Mm-hmm. You know, historically also basically has no stakes, but since it's one of the original 4, you know, it's part of the lineage of the major 4. And sometimes huge things happen, sometimes they don't. And it's a bummer that the story, pretty much the one story carrying on from Survivor Series, has nothing to do with what happened in the ring at Survivor Series. You know, It's this damn egg. Mm-hmm. It's this damn egg. And I understand WWE is a business. They need to make their money. They have these ad integrations or these movie integrations. I get all that. But just the implementation of it leaves a lot to be desired. It just does from my vantage point. And for me, if you want me to enjoy your wrestling program, it's real simple. You keep the talking to a minimum. You focus on in-ring action. You have backstage bits, promos to help motivate the matches. I'm not a complicated guy when it comes to my wrestling, you know? And if you don't deliver on that front, odds are I'm probably not going to enjoy your show. And this felt like last night, especially the first 2 hours of Raw, there was a lot of talking and a lot of matches that had like wonky finishes.
There was a ton of talking. There was way too much talking for my liking, I'll be honest with you. Just on the flip side of your thoughts on it, I think my expectations for what the egg was going to be, what that whole storyline was going to be, were so in the toilet. I think my expectations were so low. They were so down in the dirt that I actually thought Vince was pretty entertaining last night. I thought the bit with him and Austin when it was revealed and Austin Theory gave his spiel about what happened with the egg. And Vince was like, oh, you remind me of me a little bit. You get the title shot. And Sami Zayn is trapped in this coffee-ass nightmare. And he's like, what? This conspiracy's totally happening in front of my eyes. And then Vince says nobody likes a snitch. I personally just thought that was funny. I did.
See, I watched that. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would Vince be like, oh, like hats off to you, Austin Theory, for that? This just doesn't make any sense. This feels like lazy writing. The one thing I did appreciate about it is that Sami was bested by a Theory. You know,
Yeah.
like in terms of just that's a little clever. Sammy goes on about his conspiracy theories all the time.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the idea of, hey, I bring the solution to, I think look, I'm the first one to admit when something just comedically doesn't make sense. And WWE like rarely actually scores on the comedy stuff. This right here was a comedy convention that I understood, I thought was funny, and I was fine with it. And I thought Vince delivered. I didn't think it didn't make sense from a comedic I thought it made sense from a comedic standpoint because it's absurdist comedy. And it was actually executed in a way that did make sense within that context, especially given what we know about Vince McMahon. But it wasn't the kind of thing where it wasn't as bad as the grizzled young veterans grifting. That right there, to me, the first one anyways, I was so confused. I was like, I know they're trying to do a comedy bit here, but it is so poorly written, I don't understand it. This was simplicity to me, what happened with the reveal last night, because it was Vince saying, yeah, I'm going to do, you bring that to me. And then he's so charming. By the way, I actually did think also Austin Theory last night had some opportunities to display his charisma and personality, and knocked it out of the park. I can't find the little diamonds in the piece of shit. When he gave his final promo before the main event, I thought he sparkled. I thought his interaction with Vince and Sammy, I thought was genuine, and I thought had that comedic edge to it. So that bit, I'll admit, I laughed. I thought Vince punctuating with "nobody likes a snitch" made me laugh as well, because you're dealing with this 75-year-old man who's clearly losing it, and he's switching things up on it because he's charmed by Austin Theory, and he's like, hey, this kid's got gumption. I like him. You get the shot. It's like, what the hell? That made me laugh. The absurdist nature of it, I thought was all right.
Yeah, it didn't do anything for me. I mean, like the whole precinct stuff with Pierce and Sonya, I get what you're saying. I understand all that. I understand it. Whereas essentially he's saying, I want someone to snitch, and if they snitch, this is what they get. You know, yeah. And yes, I understand he's 75 years old. He's prone to being fickle and going off on various whims. I understand all that. Again, it's sort of like the situation where they do the can they coexist stuff. They're aware of it. They're aware it's an issue, and yet they do nothing about it. You know, and it's like, okay, if you're aware of it and you joke about it, does that make it okay? No. Do something about it.
Yeah, but this is different than that. Because I don't know that Vince is. I don't know that he's all that self-aware about his own whims. Just the idea of dealing with a irrational boss, I think, is a tried and true comedic trope. If you liked it, great. If not, I understand. But beyond that, I like I loved actually the Bobby Lashley Ray Dom stuff. He put a beating on these guys.
I specifically liked MVP calling out Ray.
Well, wanting Ray's wife to call him out. Oh, that was rough. That was good stuff. I like that.
The line. What was the line? As a WWE superstar, you're an icon, but as a father, you leave a lot to be desired. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that was rough. Oof. That was rough. I like that, the beat down that Lashley gave him. And it just made me think. I was like, God damn, dude. If Goldberg just hadn't come around, maybe Lashley'd still be champion. You know? Like, I really think that, I think Big E's great. Don't get me wrong. Lashley could have been their Roman. He really could have been their Roman. I don't think they have a Roman right now. But maybe Vince is like, maybe Vince misses Lashley as champion. And he's like, you know what? Let me build this guy back up. And then he'll be the guy to take it back off Big E. You know, bad guy chasing the title. He's kind of scary.
I mean, that's another issue I have with the show. And it's a small thing, but it's little things that when they add up, it helps to an extent undermine Big E's title reign. It's like there's no reason that Big E should win just because Austin Theory was distracted, you know? We've seen Austin Theory a handful of times on TV. He's not powered up to the extent where he needs to be protected like that, you know?
You can take that a couple different ways, because I on one hand, I really like Austin Theory. I think that this persona that he's discovered through, help with being with the way has been great. And on one hand, I like that they're giving him a bit of a protected loss. Big E should have no problem with him.
Exactly.
Like you do that kind of protected finish with like Damian Priest or something, or Austin Theory against Damian Priest. If you want to start protecting Austin Theory, because it would not shock me if Vince interacted with him over the past couple of weeks and was like, I really like this guy. Because Austin Theory does have everything to be the next John Cena. I believe that through and through. That dude's face, his delivery, his charisma is everything. You don't do that against Big. If you want to, he just lost against Roman Reigns. He had to show up on Raw and admit it didn't take the Usos. It didn't take Paul Heyman. I lost that fair and square, which is another thing that they shouldn't have done, by the way, because it just makes him look like a weak champion. It boggles my mind that they would do that. But
I don't think this is something that's just specific to Big E as champ. This is something they do to basically anybody that's not Roman all the time.
You can tell there's a type. I'm trying to give me I mean, I don't know, man. The way they booked Lashley last night. Well, Lashley didn't. Lashley didn't do a whole lot of.
There was. I can't name specifics, but I can remember instances where rather than just giving Lashley a good, solid win, there's some overbooked nonsense, you know. And like last night, especially was egregious because Austin Theory was standing there for like it felt like 2 minutes watching Seth and Kevin Owens argue, and I'm thinking this whole time, he's got no stake in what's going on out there. None. What the hell does he care? Yeah. You know, you can say, oh, he's 20-something. He's inexperienced. But we shouldn't have to perform that level of mental gymnastics to make sense of that moment, you know?
No.
That makes no sense for him to be distracted beyond, like, you look, oh, okay, that's happened. Doesn't involve me. I'm focusing back on what I should be focusing on.
No. Yeah. Yeah. No, when I remember Lashley, and I agree with you. I know there's many moments when, you know, they would overbook his stuff. And I'd always ask myself, why are they doing that? They don't need to, because when I think of Lashley, I think of a killer, especially after that stuff with MVP and him. When he trashed MVP, it was like, hey, all this partying and stuff is holding me back. They really booked him like a killer. And that's why it was so great when Big E, not just beat him in the cash-in, but then beat him again after that cleanly. But yeah. Big E should not need to capitalize off a distracted Austin Theory at all.
No, that should be a clean, relatively easy win for Big E.
But if it means that Austin Theory is going to start getting a lot of rub, at least there's some good to that. But yeah, you don't do that against Big E. No. I mean, if you want to establish him as a dominant champion, but clearly they're not really necessarily interested in that, man.
Seemingly
not. I mean, it's a bummer, but I think that's sort of the case.
Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Several years ago, while dealing with severe anxiety, I learned the importance of talking to a therapist, but also learned that it can be really difficult to find the right person to talk to. Today, BetterHelp is providing a safe and private online environment where your needs will be assessed, and you'll be matched with your own licensed personal therapist.
BetterHelp isn't a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, all without having to ever sit in another uncomfortable waiting room.
BetterHelp is dedicated to facilitating great therapeutic matches. Send your counselor messages at any time or schedule regular phone or video sessions. And they've made it free and easy to change therapists if needed.
And you don't have to limit yourself to counselors in your area. BetterHelp services are available worldwide, so you can find the expertise you need regardless of location.
We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Going In Raw listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/raw. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health.
Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, Raycon. So, Steve, don't know if you're aware, but the holidays are upon us. And it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. And right now, you could save huge on a gift your loved ones will use every day, Raycon wireless earbuds.
Yeah, man, whether I'm running errands or running wind sprints, I'm wearing my Raycon wireless earbuds. They've got seamless Bluetooth pairing so you can start listening right away. They've got a comfy noise-isolating fit that will keep you listening for hours.
Yeah, and whether I'm working or working out, I'm enjoying the top-notch audio quality of my Raycons. They sound great, comparable to what you get from other premium brands, except Raycons start at half the price. Plus, they offer 8 hours of playtime and 32 hours of battery life.
So this holiday season, get your friends and family something they'll actually use for calls or music, for work or play, at home or on the go. Go to buyraycon.com/raw today to unlock exclusive deals up to 20% off your Raycon order. But hurry, this offer is available for a limited time only, and if you don't want to miss it.
That's buyraycon.com/raw to unlock up to 20% off your Raycons. buyraycon.com/raw.
All right, before we get back to the show, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, Credit Karma. Hey, Larson.
Yeah.
Do you feel overwhelmed when it comes to handling personal finances?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All the time. All the time.
Well, you're not the only one. Whether you're looking to refinance credit card debt or pay for an upcoming expense, Credit Karma is there to help you make those big financial decisions with more confidence.
Yeah, Credit Karma uses your credit data to show you personal loan offers that are personalized to you. It's completely free and easy to sign up for a Credit Karma account with no effect on your credit score. On Credit Karma, you can check out multiple loan offers side by side, and members who compare loan offers on Credit Karma save an average of 30% on interest rates.
Once you get your loan, Credit Karma can help you track your progress as you pay off your debt, and will even let you know if you can refinance and save. Ready to apply? Head to creditkarma.com/loan offers to see personalized offers with your approval odds right now. Go to creditkarma.com/loan offers to find the loan for you. That's creditkarma.com/loan offers. Anyways, Raw kicked off. They recapped all the egg stuff, and then we get Vince in his office with his empty box, with empty glass case, with
Wrapping
Sonya
his
and
fingers on the desk, yeah.
And he's like, the thing that matters most to me, the thing that really bugs me, is that somebody stole something from me. And Sonya and Pierce are like, hey, we interviewed everybody. The authorities came in. Nobody knows anything. And Vince says, listen. And they hem and haw a little bit more, say something about some footage that they found. And Vince says, if the egg isn't on my desk by the end of the night, you're both, you're going to be let go. You know those words. And he's like, yeah, you don't need to say them. Pierce says that. And he says, whoever brings me the culprit will face Big E tonight with a WWE title shot. So there you go. It's set up.
Yeah. Then we get a Randy Orton interview backstage. He's asked about Riddle. Said he doesn't know where he is. Says Riddle can get lost in his own house, but it's not like him to miss a match because he's supposed to have a match next. He says, last I saw him was last night after they were celebrating their win. And he got done telling him that now that he's acting more like me, Randy, no one can stop them. And he trails off because the camera pans out, and there's Riddle. He's got a Randy mustache and a Randy goatee on. And Riddle says, hey, I was out busy doing Viper stuff.
And he's trying to talk like Randy, too. He does a pretty good impression of Randy.
Yeah,
he does a pretty good impression of an Orton promo. And Orton gets sick of it. And he's like, okay, enough. I said be like me, not be me. He says, do not get in my head. You don't want to go there. And Riddle says, it's too late. I'm already there. Hit Randy's music.
So he said hit my music.
Oh, I thought he said hit Randy's music.
I thought I heard him say hit my music. Anyways, next match, Riddle versus Dolph. Riddle's wearing Drew Gulak's tights and trying his best to wrestle an Orton match, but with a little bit of Matt Riddle in there as well. He's moving slower, a little more deliberate. At one point, Dolph hits Riddle with the drop kick, gets a 2 count, and then rips off his mustache, kind of rubs his faces in the ropes. Rips off the goatee.
Big heat for ripping off that goatee right there.
Yeah. At one point, Riddle's looking for a plancha, and then Dolph counters with a super kick. Raw rolls on.
Raw rolls on. Do you put that in your notes?
Yeah,
because I do. As Raw rolls on. Yeah.
Raw rolls on. So back to commercial. Riddle's in control for a bit until he runs to a back elbow. But then he hits a Randy Orton-esque power slam. He's looking for the draping DDT. Instead, Dolph tosses Riddle to the floor. Riddle gets back in, eats a Famouser. Dolph gets a 2. Dolph looks for a super kick. Riddle catches it, hits a jumping knee, then hits the RKO to get the win.
Orton is popping big on the outside.
This whole thing is just trying to make Randy Orton laugh because he was cracking up the entire time.
And they're doing a great job with it. Orton seems to love it, and it does translate because I was really into this, watching Orton just pop for everything Riddle was doing. This was great. So Orton pops big for the win. Rude tries to attack. Orton gives Riddle his mustache back, and then hits Bro Derek on Rude after a fist bump from Riddle, and Riddle pops huge for that. This stuff is a lot of fun.
It is fun. We get a quick shot backstage of WWE superstars, like everybody basically, tearing up the backstage area. Looks like maybe catering or something because they're flipping over tables, looking for this egg.
Oh, Rhea Ripley was going hard on this, man. Apparently she tweeted out, "I want Big E." I say let her have at it.
Yeah, that'd be a great match.
Get her that
And then at
WWE
one point,
title shot.
R-Truth finds a football. He thinks he has found the egg. And then he starts to run, opens the door, and I guess the insinuation is either the women's locker room or the women's bathroom.
Yeah.
If you hear a scream, and then he turns and leaves.
Yep. Let's see here. After that, we had a Becky Lynch promo where she says, "I've had some of the biggest." She's back to being a heel. "I've had some of the biggest moments of my life here. 3 years ago, my career skyrocketed when I slapped Charlotte across the face. What you saw last night was the culmination of almost a decade of love, hate, and betrayal. I came out here and wanted to embarrass Charlotte, to maim her, and she wanted to do the same. And you people loved every second of it. You didn't care if any of us walked out a winner or if we walked out at all. But that's done. We're turning the page onto something fresh and new because, oh, you love something fresh and new. Yeah, la 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 la. So who fresh and new would you like to see on top? Rhea Ripley? Crowd gives her decent applause. Bianca Belair? A bigger applause. Liv Morgan got a huge pop, which by the end of the night, I'm not sure why anybody popped for Liv Morgan because she literally cried. She says, but it's so funny because I used to put so much stock in your opinion until I realized you're so full of crap. You say you want something fresh and new, but last night I saw 10 women break their backs trying to prove themselves, and you said your stupid chants and your stupid songs. Said, this hurts me to say this, but I agree with you in this case. None of them have what it takes to beat me. Oh, you like her because she's the underdog? She's talking about Liv. She says, because she's won one match in 4 years. You'll bitch and moan when she doesn't beat me, but not every underdog has their day. I have a death grip on this title, and no one is prying it away from big-time Bex.
Well, there is one person who will inevitably pry it out of her hands, and that's Bianca Belair. She has a promo next. She talks about overcoming the 4-1 odds she faced at Survivor Series. And says she was able to do that because the WWE Universe cheered her on. She showed that she is the best because she's the sole survivor. She says now, hopefully, Doudrop will stop being so salty about Bianca being on the team. And suggests she finds something better to do with her time, like find Vince's egg. But now she needs to show Tamina that no one can whoop her because she's EST. That match was next. Outcome was relatively predictable. Bianca wins with KOD. Natalya lays out Bianca from behind after the match because Natalya came down with Tamina. Of course, they were former tag team partners, broken up via draft. And then she's looking for a sharpshooter. Bianca boots her out of the ring, and then Doudrop comes in, lays out Bianca from behind, and hits her with a fun splash.
Yep. So after that, Seth Rollins comes out. Yeah, there's a lot of talking. Says, we didn't need that Bianca Belair promo. You know, like the Becky one, okay, she's a big star. She comes out. Crowd eats up everything she says. Bianca's great, but she had a match. You don't really need that. Other than to remind us, and we don't need a reminder that Doudrop and Bianca Belair have issues. Just show it.
You know why they had the promo? I mean, I enjoy Bianca's mic work. Don't get me wrong. I think she's really good in the mic. They got 3 hours to fill.
You don't need it all every time. You don't need it every time. Seth comes out. He's got a promo. He says, Brooklyn, get it up for your sole survivor. Last night in this ring, I did what I was born to do. I took this show, I put it over my shoulder, and I led Team Raw to victory. And the best part is I did it all by myself. And he calls out every member of his team as not measuring up. And he finishes on Finn Balor. He says, Finn Balor, ha, ha, ha. He got kicked by Sheamus and was pinned 1, 2, 3. No help from Finn Balor. He says, but in a few moments, Finn Balor is going to walk down that ramp, get in this ring, and I'm going to lead by example when I show Finn a thing or two to be the best because I'm Seth freaking Raw. And then Finn interrupts.
Yeah.
The match doesn't actually happen, though, because they just brawl a bunch. Seth gets the upper hand on Finn. He throws him over the commentary table, hits him with some steel steps. He really messes him up on that. Gets Finn back in the ring, stomps him, leaves, comes back, stomps him again. And that's when the fan, at the directive of fake Seth Rollins, go ahead and spears Seth Rollins. They cut away as quickly as they realize, whoa, this isn't right. Mm-hmm. And then they just show a bunch of replay stuff. And then by the time they come back to Seth, he's all sort of bloody in the mouth. And he's like, no one can touch me.
Yeah.
So he was playing it up.
So we get another shot in the locker room. They're all searching for the egg some more. We go back to Vince's office. Sami Zayn's in there. He says, I heard rumblings that whoever has info on the egg gets a title shot. And Vince says, yeah, that's right. Sami says, I know who took the egg. I'm pretty sure. And Vince says, he's full of crap. And Sami says, no, I know. The thing is that he's not here tonight, so I'll have to bring them here and get the title shot. And then Vince is like, all right, we'll bring him in. And Sami wants to shake hands, and Vince is like, no.
After that, we had a Kevin Steen interview. He says he's looking around for the egg. And so apparently, according to Fightful Select, there was supposed to be a lie detector test segment.
Yeah.
They're going to ask, are you looking to renew your contract? Yes. That answer is false.
Well, this is a moment of truth. I don't think they have
going to put him on moment of truth.
Test.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Talking polygraph test. So anyways, I've been looking for the egg, but if I'm not the one to bring it back, I can't wait to see who does. And I have great interest in who walks out tonight, WWE champion. So I'll be paying attention, and that's no lie. Is that going to be his new T-shirt? That's going to be his gimmick for the next 2 months?
Guess
that's
so.
No lie.
Yeah. Then we got Street Profits versus AJ Styles and Amos. The Street Profits bring a large, duffel bag down to the ring and place it on the ring steps. So some speculation was, do they have the egg? Ooh. They didn't. So they didn't.
False. False.
So it ends up being a fire extinguisher in there. At one point, Amos is setting up to hit the choke bomb on Ford, and then Dawkins gets the fire extinguisher, shoots it at Amos, and then at AJ, and they flee. So that the match ends in DQ or a no contest because it's not a finish. It seems like WWE just rules it a no contest now.
If it's convenient for the story, it's a no contest. In this case, I'm pretty sure that the Profits got DQ'd. Because that's sort of the point of it. But yeah, you never know week to week, man. I still say that Xavier Woods one was like, boy, that was crazy.
I mean, that's a textbook DQ situation. That's how it should have gone down.
I know.
But as you know, the rule book in WWE is but a sketch pad. So,
they could at least kayfabe it. Roman could get Paul Heyman on the case, say, hey, I want to make sure that doesn't reflect on my record as a loss. But they don't do that stuff. Anyways, after that, backstage, we get Carmella and Queen Zelina in an interview. Asked what's their game plan. Their game plan is essentially, we have to worry about Rhea Ripley. We do not have to worry about Nikki ASH. And that ended up being totally true because we have that match next. The finish saw Rhea Ripley getting taken out by Carmella after Rhea goes in to break a pin. Carmella hits her with a super kick, and her head smashes up against the pole, so she's out for a bit. Nikki grabs at Carmella's hair. Zelina is behind her. She takes advantage of that. Carmella hits a super kick on Nikki ASH. Zelina hits Code Red. And we've got new women's tag champions. I think both these women are great, Carmella and Queen Zelina. I'm looking forward to their tag reign. They really need to establish an actual tag team division for the women because there is none. But Rhea and Nikki Cross need to not be in that division because they need to be solo competitors, or at least have Nikki find a new partner because Rhea Ripley should be a solo star.
Yeah, and I don't know this. I mean, you'd like to think this is be the story of Nikki now proving, all right, I'm not the weak link of this team, or just kind of in general, whatever, because she's been taking a lot of L's lately.
Yeah, that's gonna keep going too.
Yeah, and I mean, you like to think there's a story involved here with what they're doing with Nikki. I just don't know if there is.
Yeah, no, I do. I can tell you. I have
no
bad
story?
news.
No story.
No story.
They had a great story in front of them with the almost a superhero thing.
They'll do the thing where she'll give some promos about her feeling like the weak link, and that she'll just end up jobbing out a lot. She'll probably end up in the 24/7 division, especially now that Dana Brooke hasn't. And then that's going to be kind of the end of it. And then maybe in a year or so, she'll just come out in like her regular clothes.
She'll be Nikki Cross again.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my idea. Anyways, after that, we talked about this segment. Sammy brings in Austin Theory and the egg, and Vince has him sit down. He said, "Why'd you do it?" And Theory's like, "Look, I just wanted to come in and take a selfie with it, but there's like so much security. I just panicked. I took it back to my hotel to get it." And Vince is like, "Oh, prove it." So he gets out and he's like, "See, I took the selfie with it." So Vince is like, "Okay, that makes sense." And Vince is like, "You know what? Took a lot to come in here. Tell the truth. I'm going to drop the charges." Sammy's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You know what? He reminds me of me a little bit. And in fact, I'm going to give you the title shot." And Sammy's like, "What are you talking about? I brought him to you." And Austin's like, "Oh man, really? Can I get a selfie with you?" And Vince takes a really awkward selfie with Austin Theory, and then Sammy yells at Vince, "Just shut up! No one likes a snitch." So there you go. I thought it was funny. After that, we had Reggie versus Cedric. 24/7 title action.
Oh, man. Cedric wrecked Reggie.
This was great. This was awesome. Yeah.
Wrecked him.
That dude did not fool for a move.
No, Reggie barely got any offense in. If he got any, he reversed the suplex into or a brainbuster into a Rana. That gets him a 2. Reggie's looking for a corkscrew splash. Cedric just boots him, hits him with the lumbar check. He wins. And then, of course, predictably, 24/7 locker room runs out towards the ring. Cedric turns around and eats a top rope blockbuster from Dana Brooke. She pins him. She is a new 24/7 champion.
Did Reggie do something? Was that little slap at his hands? Like, did Reggie get too close to Vince or something? Because this seemed unnecessary for what was about to happen. Like, they could have done like a mad world type situation where Dana Brooke ends up rolling somebody up. But instead, they had Cedric embarrass Reggie and completely destroy everything they had taken months to tell that story with Reggie, how he's so much more clever than everybody. Cedric murdered him in there. And
I doubt his punishment and it's probably more just like, all right, Vince has gotten bored with what Reggie's been doing. That's probably it.
Could be. After that, we had Ray and So yeah, we got to the part where Dana Brooke won, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and everybody sort of backs off from her. After that, we had Dom and Ray in the locker room. Dom is like, "Hey, Dad, Papi, I feel bad. Last week when Bob Lashley put you in that hurt lock, I froze, didn't know what to do. I'm sorry." Ray says, "Don't worry about it. Bob isn't the first monster I faced. And every time I've held my chin high, I can fight my own battles. I don't need you to do it for me. But tonight, we fight side by side. Para la toda la raza." It means for the entire race. And the familia and all that stuff. So they were going to have a handicap match against Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, later on. But first, we had a Dana Brooke interview. Obviously, she's 24/7 champ. She feels like she's in a hurry to get out of there before the 24/7 locker room comes and tries to take the title. So she says, "I don't have a lot of time." Said, "I created opportunity for myself and I captured it." Just like she tries to live her life every day as a champion, overcoming any obstacle that's put in my path 24/7. She says, "This is my moment to show the world who Dana Brooke is."
You know what? I think is great. That's awesome. I always bring this up, man. Number one, they need to go back to do another Breaking Ground, or AEW should totally steal that idea.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right? But Dana Brooke was obviously, they had high hopes for her back.
I mean, the backstage stuff on Road to the Top, that's kind of what Breaking
Ground
was.
Stuff.
That was the most interesting part of that show.
Except I kind of think that the Road to the Top stuff is like 80% kayfabed, and the Breaking Ground stuff was like 30% kayfabed.
Yeah.
So anyways, we have Bobby Lashley versus Ray and Dom to begin this match. MVP gets on the mic and says, "Go." What was the phrase? You probably have the.
So he said,
I have it here. He says, "Ray, you suck as a dad." But what was the exact words?
This is what he says. So he says, "First, Ray, I want to tell you that I have so much respect for you. You're an icon in this industry. Despite your size, you've become a giant. But as a father, you leave so much to be desired."
It's totally true too.
"I'm disappointed in you. You've taught Dom that monsters are real." And he says, "Ray, you faced and defeated many, but you've never faced a monster the likes of Lashley. What is Ray going to do when Dom is in the hurt lock, in pain, crying out?" And Ray
Ayúdame. That means help me in Spanish.
And Ray is powerless to do anything about it. Ray's ego is going to get your kid hurt, and when he goes home and looks at his wife in the face and try to explain to her that Dom got hurt because of Ray's ego, she's going to be disgusted with you, Ray. And when that happens, just give her my number and tell her to call me.
Woo! That crowd went, whoa!
Yeah.
That was good stuff. That was really good stuff. And then Bob Lashley, look, man, Dom and Ray, they had some pretty good chemistry here against this monster Lashley, but in the end, none of it mattered, man. There was that bit where Lashley was looming over Dom, just saying, hit me. And Dom did, but his punches are nothing. Dom escapes a Dominator. He tags in Ray. They get a bunch of their shit in on Lashley. They got some good chemistry. They hit a double 619. Each hits a frog splash. Dom gets on top of Ray for the pin on Lashley, and he throws them off.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Lashley spears Ray into next Tuesday, catches Dom in a hurt lock as Dom tries to come off the top and just ragdolls his ass. Dom taps out. Lashley throws him to the ground. This was great. I love this kind of Lashley.
Yeah.
Get him back up to that title picture, man.
Yeah, I thought this was all pretty great. After that, we had a Big E interview. He says, last night, I let a lot of people down. I can't blame Heyman or the Usos. It's on me. But tonight, it's not about wallowing in self-pity. He says, I got my hands full. And he says, literally, he was hungry. He has like a pear, and I can't remember what else he has in his other hand. He says, well, there's Seth Rollins. There's Kevin Owens tonight. He has a title match against Austin Theory. Theory's young. He's brash, but he's talented. But he says, the one thing that I could do is assure you that after retaining my title and leaving this beautiful Barclays Center, I'm be feeling pretty good. He had new Seinfeld Festivus ring gear.
He's all in. It's great. I know that's what I got to put up some Hanukkah stuff and some Festivus stuff and some Kwanzaa stuff up here on the old overlay. So it's not just for the Christmas, man. It's for everybody. Definitely Festivus. Anyways, this was brutal right here, man. We had a Liv Morgan interview. This was brutal. So Becky interrupts. Liv, but she barely gets into the interview, and Becky interrupts. Says, once again, you under-delivered, Liv. You did nothing. Shit takes me back to Money in the Bank. Everybody was rooting for you. You got to the top of the ladder, inches away, but nope. Somebody came in and outshined Liv. It's Nikki A.S.H. She said she got up there. She got it. She cashed in. Got the title you will never hold. This was rough because Liv, the best she can come up with is, I'm pretty sure I held it last week. Of course, last week she sort of beat up Becky and she sucker punched her and then touched the title. And Becky said, I let kids hold that too, Liv. And Liv says,
I do autograph signings every week, and I let little kids hold the title too, but doesn't mean they're champion.
And Liv's face immediately goes,
it was legit cry
instant cry face. And Becky says, oh, you've embarrassed everybody. Are you crying? You're actually crying. And Liv actually starts crying. And then she snaps on Becky when she's mocking her even more. Oh, my. At this point, I really just want to see Becky tear Liv limb from limb because this is embarrassing. Who's going to root for Liv Morgan after this is not the actions of a champion. You can't get up there and start crying because somebody's talking shit. Oh, wow. Oof.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That's what, 2 weeks in a row now where Becky has just destroyed Liv on the mic.
Oh.
After that, we had Damian Priest. He had an open challenge. So first, Commander Aziz, Apollo Crews come out. Commander Aziz introduces Crews. And then Crews says, hey, Damian, seems like you've had a bit of a split personality of late. You're ashamed of who you truly are. He says, as for me, I've embraced my heritage. I've found my true self. And this is why when I fight for the U.S. title, I'm going to decimate you. I'm more powerful than ever. And I'm going to show the world that Priest isn't fit to be U.S. champ. And then Priest cuts him off, says, hey, we're in New York. You come out here, you want to run your mouth, go start a podcast or shut your mouth and fight. So Apollo, he says, Apollo, if you want to get to know the real Damian Priest, we can throw down right now for this title. And Crews says, oh, you're a funny guy. We're in your hometown. But for them to fight, it wouldn't be fair. So my answer is no. Instead, Sami Zayn comes out. He says, oh, this is perfect. He says, first, the world gets to see the conspiracy targeting me is real and runs all the way to the top to Vince McMahon after he denied me a WWE title shot that I deserve. But when one door closes, another one opens. And I'll tell you what, Crews, if you don't want to accept the U.S. Open Challenge, if they don't want the match, I'll happily accept because I'm not leaving here empty-handed. I'm walking out of Brooklyn as a new U.S. champ.
And we get that match. There's some pretty good. It was a really short match. But we get some really cool stuff. Sami Zayn got 2 with a sunset flip powerbomb. That really needs to be a finisher. The sunset flip powerbomb from the top rope. But he got 2 with it. At one point, Sami picks up the title and he slaps Priest. Oh, he snaps. And then he ends up beating Sami
This
Zayn.
feels like this character feels like such a step backwards for Damian Priest. He was a dude, and he was super relatable, and I felt like he was getting some momentum behind him when he was on TV.
It's not very often that you can do that too, because you're absolutely right. He was just himself. He was just a dude saying no to donuts and being totally cool. And even I just feel like there's such a stark difference between the way they did this with Ilya. Because it's the same concept. The way they did this with Ilya and the way they're doing it with Damian. With Ilya, there was a specific trigger that came from a specific moment in his life, and we saw it.
And then he had to deal with it. He tried to process that.
Right, and he hated himself for it. This Priest stuff, it's like it's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's the slightest amount of disrespect coming his way. And then they make such a cartoonish deal, and he acts cartoonish with it. It just doesn't feel scary or genuine. It's just you're just going to be waiting for the moment in the match. And realistically, anybody who scouts this will just understand, okay, let me try to beat him and be calm and cool about it and not disrespect the guy. And then I might be able to beat him legitimately. Mm-hmm. It's such a sudden shift. It's this stuff that, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't enhance his character, and it takes him a couple steps back.
Yeah. So I felt like he was going places. You know?
I know. I agree.
You know, he was a dude who was cool with fighting, but he seemed like a mellow dude, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then if they had built to this moment where he, you know, seemingly he could be set off at a moment's notice, that's fine, but build to that moment. Just don't, you know, just do it right in the middle of a character that was kind of working for him. Just doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Anyways, I don't know if he said this, Priest won with Reckoning after he got set off. He was just beating the heck out of Sammy. Choke slam, Reckoning, he got the win.
After that, we had an Austin Theory interview. He says, "This is my first WWE Championship match." He says, "Look, I even got a selfie with Vince." He says, "Tonight I'm going to become the youngest WWE champion in history. No disrespect to Big E, but last night he was a big loser. I am the future, and the future's right now, and Big E will know that as soon as I become the new WWE champion." It was really simple. Like, he didn't say anything groundbreaking here, but the camera loves this dude's face, and he has got so much more personality since his time in NXT than he did when he was a disciple of Seth Rollins, where he was just sort of a vacant guy. I really like this. I wonder if there's going to be a certain turning point for him. I get the feeling that Theory's going to be one of those guys who eventually becomes a heel that you just can't boo, and then he'll have to go face. And I wonder how they're going to maneuver that, because sometimes there's not.
Yeah, and I worry that I hope they don't pigeonhole him as guy who takes selfies, you know? Because up until this week, I feel like the selfie thing was kind of how he shows disrespect toward either potential opponents or beaten opponents, you know?
Yeah.
And that I got. But then he just, part of the bit with him and Vince is like, okay, now he's just selfie guy. He just wanted to get a selfie with the egg. And it's like, you're minimizing some of the potential depth you could use with the whole selfie gimmick by just making
if he was
a
doing that
guy.
If he was okay, I'm not really worried about that, just because, like, I think they'd be a lot more overt with it if that was the case. He'd be going ringside, taking it with all sorts of fans. He'd be going inside the ring during matches. You know how they are. They're not terribly subtle when they want somebody to be that guy. Like, we were just talking about Damian Priest, and look at his rebrand. New music. They got the split screen, good and bad thing. Like, he has to talk about it so overtly. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe they'll go overboard with it. So far, I'm on board with it. It's just sort of a thing for him to use to show who he is, and I'm okay with that. But you never know. I mean, they might bury this guy. Looks like, according to White Brownie, Raw got almost 1.7 million.
Wow.
Last night with a .49.
I guess people were really invested in this egg story.
The big money demo right there. What was it? Was it like 1.6 last week?
Yeah, something like that. 1.5, 1.6. It's been kind of hovering around there for a while.
Yep.
Then we got our main event, Big E versus Austin Theory. So Seth comes down to watch the match ringside. And hats off to Seth. He comes out for his entrance,
great.
Standing on the stage, looking for anybody else who
and he starts
might
laughing.
Want to jump that barricade.
Seth Rollins is so great. He's so great.
Yeah. And as mentioned, Big E has some Festivus-inspired ring gear. It's amazing. And so about halfway through the bout, he hits an apron splash on Theory. Now Kevin Owens comes down to ringside. Kind of distracts Big E for a moment. Theory runs into a Uranagi, but he does it. He escapes, hits a back elbow, neck breaker, gets one. And then Theory hits a drop kick on Big E because Big E had rolled out to the floor. Later on in the ring, Theory escapes a big ending. Drop toe holds Big E into the corner, follows the rolling drop kick. That gets him a 2. He looks for his finish. Big E escapes that, tosses Theory to the apron. He's looking for the apron spear. Theory gets his knees up, gets a knee up, sorry. He runs into the ring, runs right into an Uranagi. Big E gets a 2 there, and then Theory rolls out to the floor. Big E follows, tosses him back in the ring, and as Big E is getting back in the ring, Seth cheap shots him in his leg, the one that he had hurt last night at Survivor Series or 2 nights ago at Survivor Series. And so Theory hits a rolling blockbuster, and then Kevin Owens just throws Seth Rollins in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so Seth rolls out, gets in Kevin Owens' face. They start arguing, and this distracts Theory forever. Mm-hmm. Forever. He turns around, big ending. Big E wins. So Seth and Kevin Owens are ringside shoving each other. Big E lays out Seth from behind, throws him into the announce table. He puts Owens in the ring. Owens escapes. Seth tries to attack Big E from behind. Instead, he gets a big ending.
Yeah. Maggie mentioned this. I don't know if y'all mentioned this, but the crowd singing Seth's theme was great. That was awesome. Mm-hmm. That was good. Yeah, they're really on us some. Seth's doing killer work these days. Yeah, everything about him. Packaging, presentation, all that stuff has been great. Anyways, let's go ahead and answer some questions. Of course, we have a thread up on the Patreon. If you can't make the show live on the Twitch, you can join us over at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Ask your questions there if you have pressing questions for the show. First up, Smurf Galway. What are your opinions on commentators drawing to a move, not connecting, or botches? He says, Corey is so bad for it. I swear every time he's on commentary, at some point he's on the show, he says, didn't get all of it here.
Oh, I guess covering for missed moves or something like that.
I think they should be doing that. If somebody whiffs on a kick and the guy sells it, you got to say that something happened there. You can't say, wow, why did he just fall? I'm fine with that.
Concert Crap says Riddle has now been with Dunn in NXT and Orton on Raw. Give Riddle 3 more stoic and deadpan superstars to team with in the future for some good on-screen chemistry and possible tag team title runs. So Orton. Not only has it been Dunn and Orton, it's also been Timothy Thatcher.
Oh, it's been... Wait, who are we talking about here?
Riddle.
Oh, Riddle. God, for some reason I thought he said Seth.
Otis. This new iteration of Otis.
Oh, that'd be hilarious to see if Otis would break or not. Yeah, that'd be good. Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
Put him in the Hurt Business. Let's see here. Gregory Fiala. What do you think was going through Seth's mind when he randomly got speared? Probably, what the fuck? That's probably what's going through his head is what the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Wolfpack for Life. Who has the higher ceiling? Montez or Austin Theory? Shit, they're both friggin' WrestleMania main event ceiling, so I'm not sure how much higher you can get.
Yeah.
I'm going to push on that one, man, because I think they're both terrific. I think that because they might not break up the Street Profits anytime soon, and so Austin Theory's going to have a jump on him. Maybe they'll give him a higher ceiling.
That could be. Jorge D, what would you guys steal from Vince if you would not get caught? The book.
Triple H's contract.
Okay.
Rip it up.
I'd take the whatever he uses to book shows and then go in there and write a bunch of like better stuff in there.
There you go. Bill Brasky sub for 17 months. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill Brasky.
Thanks, Bill. Let's see here.
Jonathan has a good answer. Riddle managed by Lance Storm.
Oh, that's a good one. Xavier Gray says, are Dewdrop, Natalia, and Tamina suddenly forming a new faction now? And why is Natalia suddenly on? What's the Raw episode that Roman's supposed to be on?
It was supposed to be last night. I think he was supposed to be in the dark match. I think that's what he was advertised for. It's next week. Sorry, it's next week. It's the one on the 29th. It's the 29th.
He's just advertised for a dark match, though. Is that the deal?
I thought that's what I read.
Okay.
No, I mean, like, Natalia's on SmackDown, I think.
Yeah, she's on SmackDown.
Maybe Tamina and Doudrop will form a tag team. I don't know, but I think those are just two separate things.
I think you're right about that.
Fear and Loathing. If Riddle is becoming like Orton, could he be the one that goes heel in this eventual feud?
Dude, I keep on thinking that, he's going to get so into Orton's head that he's going to turn on Orton. But I don't know if anybody wants to see that. I don't know if the crowd wants to see that.
I know.
If he can somehow maintain, that's Seth's problem with going face, because he might be confronted with a situation that he's doing such good work that people are going to be on board. Don't change your character, change the actions slightly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he'll be fine as a face. Mm-hmm. If he still has that edge, that character, the revolutionary, but you just, oppose other faces that people actually don't, or other heels people actually don't like, they're going to cheer Seth like never before, but don't change him into regular guy. That's where they went wrong with that.
Yeah, I know. Lopez 11685. So I saw a Braun Strowman action figure in my local CVS, even though he'd been fired for almost 6 months at this point. You go to, it's funny, if you go to the toy aisles of drugstores, you'll find usually WWE action figures that are at least 6 to 12 months old. Happens to everyone I've been to. Everyone.
The window between production and distribution on action figures is so long that's inevitable. Like, you're not going to start pulling, because they literally would not have figures on the shelf if they had to make those kinds of, or they could just do like figures of, Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But there's nothing they can do about that. Tronin says at this point, people have to be watching Raw because this is what they do on a Monday night. Anecdotally speaking, like I put out a little thread about that over at WrestleJuice, where I asked people, if you still watch Raw, why? Not being snarky or anything, just, why? Do you legitimately enjoy it? So many. I'm telling you, like 70% of the responses. We saw the poll that we put here. Did you watch Raw? And like 80% of people said no.
Yeah.
We got 250 people watching right now.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't everybody that's watching voted, but still. And more people are saying, I just listen to you guys instead of watch the show, which is awesome. That's great. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
It's great.
But it's kind of crazy. The vast majority of people who responded, I still watch, or, that, because I put it out there for people who do still watch Raw. Mm-hmm. So many of them, dude. So many of them said, it's routine. I put it on. I don't necessarily pay attention. Something cool might happen. Those are the big ones. Something cool might happen. It's routine, whatever. So anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. At 4 today, we're going to have 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. We're going to have Friendo Club TV. Not entirely sure what the topic's going to be, but should be fun anyways. We're just going to hang out. We'll just hang out.
Yeah, sure. We'll just hang out.
Come up with a topic. We'll have a topic.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
We'll figure the 10 better uses of egg or something like that. I don't know.
10 places you should have security. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.